Hello and welcome to the MVP Show. Today we have Elaine Yu. She's a manager at Deloitte Digital who is also a Power Platform evangelist. She's a new MVP, just under a year at this point. So join me for the conversation we have on her career and how she got to this point. Full show notes can be found at nz365guy.com/233. Now let's get on with the show. Elaine, welcome to the MVP Show.
Hey Mark, how are you doing? Thanks for inviting me to your show.
Good to have you here. What part of the world are you living in today?
I am in Down Under. I'm Melbourne, the best city to live in the world at the moment, or probably not. If you've been reading the news. At the moment.
Yes, so true. So you got lots of problems with COVID-19 restarting again in Melbourne at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah, second wave of everything, including toilet paper buying.
Wow. So is that right? So there's a rush on the supermarkets again?
Apparently in some parts of Melbourne, yeah. It's running out of toilet paper again.
Wow, that's crazy. No pun intended. Oh, wow, that is crazy. So tell me a bit about you. You know, how long have you been in Melbourne? What do you do? What's your career about? That type of thing.
So I'm actually Malaysian. If some of you do not know, I've been traveling around a bit. So I was born in Malaysia, grew up in Malaysia, studied there, started my career there for a couple of years before I moved to Singapore. I lived in Singapore for 5 years, and 4 years ago I landed in Melbourne. So I call 3 countries home.
Yeah. Do you know, I've never been to Malaysia.
Really? Oh, you should.
Yeah, I've been to so many countries, but not Malaysia. Tell me, if I was to go to Malaysia, what's the best things that I should do there?
Eat. The food.
Eat. Okay, tell me about the food. What's the best dishes I'm going to order?
Oh, goodness. We have so much food, Mark. You wouldn't... I can't even name. Like, if you want Chinese cuisine, we have... I'll say in Chinese, we have things like chi xiong fan, which is like the noodles with duck sauce and meatballs and pork balls. We have pork noodle soup. We have herbal pork noodle soup. If you want spicy, we have prata, roti canai, curries. Because we have lots of different race over there. So it's very multicultural. So it speaks with the food as well. You should go one day.
Is there any places that I should visit though, specifically?
Depends. What do you like? So we have islands. You can go island hopping. That is like the east of Malaysia and then you can go towards Borneo, which is really good for diving. And there's also the national park. But if you want to just relax with your wife to have a romantic time, I suggest you go to Pangkor Laut. So Pangkor Laut is a private island. And there's only one resort on the island. And when you pay for it, you get like a villa. Your breakfast, lunch, dinner is all settled for. Like you basically don't pay a cent anymore when you're on the island except for drinks. But again, all the alcohol tab goes back to your hotel expenses. So which means that you can just have martini the whole day and then pay later.
This sounds amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
I wonder if I can organize a business trip to Malaysia.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So what led you to go to Singapore?
So it's very funny. I was actually doing .NET development in Malaysia, and I just wanted a change. So I was just throwing resumes around, and then this Singapore company called me. I think they stumbled on my resume somewhere. You know how we used to have monster.com and stuff like that? Yeah, that's how ancient I am. So I used to put in my resumes there, and this Singapore company that is doing Dynamics called me. So I don't even know what is Dynamics CRM that time. Malaysia don't have it. So I just Googled and said, oh yeah, it's the software for CRM. I thought, why not? So I flew down to Singapore, did an interview, and I was hired without any Dynamics experience whatsoever. So yeah, that's how I landed in Singapore. And then you know how when you move to a place, you just start to settle in there, and then kind of just live there for a bit. And then it wasn't bad. Like I had a very good like project experience over there, because Singapore, obviously we do a lot of APAC work, and also I stayed on. And then that's how I ended up for 5 years. It was fun. Like when you're young and earning money in Singapore, it's a good place to be.
Yeah. So just I'm interested in a bit of the logistics of how that all happened. Did they pay you to fly down to do the interview?
No, I don't know what I was thinking, ma. But then I was 26, and then I was like, oh, Singapore is, to me, it's like another state. It's 45 minutes flight, because I was in KL, right? And then I thought I'll just do a trip there, and then just go around Singapore for a bit, meet up with some friends. So it became more like a leisure trip with an hour of interview, more than an interview trip. Yeah. So I literally just flew down and just did the interview. Came back. I didn't think too much about it. They offered me the 2 days later. It just happened really fast, and then they start processing my visa. Before I know it, I moved down to Singapore.
Wow. And that's the other question I have is how easy was it to get a visa coming from Malaysia into Singapore?
It's easy for Malaysians. Just I think because of the relationship Singapore and Malaysia have. So for Malaysians, it's nothing. Like we have about, I think if I'm not wrong, I could Google it to be confirmed. But they say there's about 20 million Malaysians in Singapore. Yeah. And a lot of them live across in Johor Bahru, which means they commute every day. Yeah, which is really good because you earn Singapore dollar and then you live in Malaysia.
Wow, interesting. And I see you worked for NEC in Singapore at some time.
Yes, and that is where I actually was convinced by my teammates from NEC Australia that I should move to Australia. Yeah, we did a project in NEC Singapore where it was a joint venture with NEC Australia. So we have a couple of Australians, project managers, solution architect that was based in Singapore for a bit for that project. Yeah, those were the guys who told me, oh, you should come to Australia. The market there is good. It's a nice place to be.
So did NEC arrange your visa then to Australia? Did you come in on a 457 visa?
No. So it's funny because after NEC, I didn't move to Australia after NEC. I actually moved. I was on contract with NEC for a year. Then I got a job with Fujitsu. So when I was in Fujitsu, there were Australian company who started calling me. Actually, they started calling me since my NEC days, but I didn't think too much about it, you know. But when they started calling me, and then obviously the influence of these Australians that I met in NEC, I thought, why not, right? So the first company that approached me was Empire. Yeah, so we had a conversation, and I nearly joined Empire on a 457, but they pull out later on because I think they say it takes a long time to get me a 457 compared to hiring an Australian.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But like when I worked in Australia, I brought maybe 20 people in on 457 visas from other countries. And it's just a known process. You just go through the process. It's yes, you're not a citizen of the country, and so therefore there's different hiring requirements, but it was still a process that is simple enough to do in my mind.
Yeah, I don't really know like actually what is the process like because I'm so new, right? So when they said it's between me and another Australian and it's faster to hire the Australian. So they told me to wait on, and I didn't think too much about it. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Then Oakton called me. I gone through interview with Oakton, and Oakton was willing to hire me. So at that point when Oakton started the interview, my colleague in Fujitsu also started an interview with Oakton. It's really strange, right? But my colleague was interviewing with the Salesforce team, and I was interviewing with Dynamics team. Yeah, and she came up with this idea where she went like, hey, why not we just apply the PR since you are interviewing now rather than going there and get a 457 and stuff. You never know, right? So I thought, oh yeah, again, I didn't know how much this cost and all, and she wanted to do it, so I just did it with her. I did my IELTS, and the interview process took a while as well, I guess, because it's outside hiring, right? Like I think they take a lot of so I did my processing and everything, and by the time Oakton came back to me the third time, they already offered me a EOI. That was how fast my PR process went.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was quite quick.
Yes, I think I put in July. I got it in September. I was very lucky, Mark. Like it was just kind of like I felt like it's just meant to be, like everything just happened. So I was like, okay, and then Octon offered me a job, and yeah, and I landed in Melbourne. I love it here, so I stayed on. And it was just in the right time because that means I managed to come in here by January on a PR instead of a 457. Yeah.
Wow. So we must have just missed each other, right? Because I left Australia in February 2017.
Oh, that's where you left to UK, is it?
Well, I went to, well, my wife and I traveled Europe for 18 months. And then at the end of that 18 months, we ended up in the UK.
Yeah. We just missed each other by a month.
Yeah.
As I would have met you
If
in
I'd
user
not,
groups.
yeah. I would have employed you if I'd known you'd want to come to Australia. I would have employed you to.
Oh God.
Back then, I was working for SMS, Management and Technology, but of course they don't exist anymore. They've been acquired, haven't they? So I see, and so then just moving forward, you went to Barhead, and Barhead was relatively new at that time, wasn't it? It was a relatively new company.
Yeah, it was when I joined Barhead. I think there was only 3-4 of us in Melbourne. Yeah, it was the start
So
of Barhead.
Andre would have been with you?
Yes, it was me, Andre, Keaton, and the delivery manager. Yeah, so it was just 4 of us. Yeah, it was a very good time.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Now, how did you get involved with TDG? I see you're a community lead in that, and so was that your foray into getting heavily involved in the community?
Of TDG. So I started. How did I get started with TDG? Oh yeah, so it happens with I started playing with Power Apps, and then someone sent me a link and said, "Hey, join this TDG page. They have some resources." So I joined as a member, and then Chris Huntingford did not approve me as a member. So I dropped him a message and said, "Hey, can you approve me?" And then he linked me up with Will, and that's how I know Will. And one night I was building this so I was building this app to make fun of Sahan when he got his MVP. It was these few MVPs dancing, and I couldn't figure out how to make the curtain opens and closes. And so happened I saw Will online in LinkedIn, and I messaged him. And few days later, Will asked me, "Hey, do you want to join TDG as a TDG leader?" I didn't know what was that. I actually thought it was a dodgy message. Sorry, Will, if you're listening to this. I'm like, is this a scam?
No, but anything come from Will Dorrington, definitely I can see how that could be interpreted.
Yeah, so I sat on the message for a bit, and then I kind of blurted it out to Lisa Crosby, and she's like, "Oh, I got a message as well." And then she told me about it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, probably it's legit." Then so I responded to Will, "Hey, can you tell me more about it?" That was how I got involved. I didn't tell Will till today that I think it's a scam, but I really thought it was a scam that time. It just doesn't sound
so true. Now, and TDG has evolved, of course, and you've been involved recently in lots of hackathons, a global hack. I know we worked together around that for the Australia and New Zealand and India time zones. What's your level of involvement in the community these days?
So now I do more presentations with the COVID and all, lots of virtual presentations. I did a couple of panels where they asked me to talk about my experience. I've done one internal in the company. There's one upcoming one, which is the Women in Tech business application. Yeah, they're about career and stuff. I actually want to create more content, but it's just a bit hard to balance things out these days. So my aim is to start creating more content in a month or two once things got settled a bit. Because I'm still trying. It's strange, but after a few months, I'm actually still trying to work out my whole schedule. My schedule kind of got mixed up since the whole work from home and everything. Despite I know ironically we should have more time, but for some reason I feel that I've been using my time with other stuff. I seem to have a better schedule workout when I was going to work. It's strange.
Yeah. It's because of the triggers. triggers when you go to work, it sets your mind into a certain mode and you know what you have to do through the day. And I think with everybody working from home, a lot of those triggers changed, the things that naturally just would prompt you without even thinking to do something else. I've found it's definitely affected me, even though I had been working from home for the last 2 years. It was quite different under COVID situation.
Yeah, I think the brain doesn't switch off naturally, like between working hours and non-working hours. It doesn't seem to have that timing anymore, which is kind of odd.
Yeah, so true, so true. So tell me, how did you become an MVP?
After the hackathon, after the first global hackathon, Will nominated me.
Will did.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good man.
He convinced me that I should do it. I remember his words. He's like, "It's okay. At least you get recognition." Yeah. So I said, "Oh, why not?" So he nominated me, and then I put in my contribution. Yeah, and it happens.
And what's your experience been of the MVP? How long have you been an MVP?
Since December 2019. So not very long, actually. 6-7 months.
Okay. So what's your experience? What do you feel about the program now that you're in it?
I think the best part about being MVP are the resources that you get and the people that you meet. Like the MVP community is just awesome. I met people like you. And then obviously there's some of those guys in UK like Rory, Michelle. I'm not sure it's Michelle MVP, but I get to know people around, and it's like you meet like-minded people you can share stuff with, and then obviously you get to know the NDA stuff that's happening in Microsoft. You get to give your feedback, which I think really good because I really like the product. I mean, as much as there's the love-hate relationship sometimes with Dynamics, but I've liked it enough to stick around for 10 years doing Dynamics. So it's good to be able to give some feedback on what I think and hopefully see some improvement, because I think there's still some lacking areas. Like as much as they improve it, there are certain things which I feel Microsoft did not consider, like the emails.
Yep. What do you mean by emails?
Email templates.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, totally.
Because we get this complaint every time we do implementation with the customer. It's not something new. And I'm just surprised with the whole UCI and stuff. Like we have improved the UI so much. We have not actually looked into some basics things. And I'm glad to be able to give my feedback on areas like that.
Yeah. I mean, with email, right? Things like putting slugs and stuff into messages, so dear whoever their name is, that type of thing, that should all be autocomplete type scenarios now, right? You should be able to type the @ symbol. You shouldn't have to go open entity, select field on entity. Is this the one yes it is. Click okay, right. And 10 it's not 10 steps, so it's like at least 5 steps to just add somebody right to a form. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think you should also allow you to put business rules in the email template. Probably it's too much to ask for, but it's a valid use case. Because I've done 3 templates just because we need to have different wordings, a couple of different wordings based on different scenarios.
Yeah, crazy. Well, it's been interesting to have you on the show, and I've learned so much about you. Before you go, are you ready for your quick fire questions?
Yeah.
You are? So these are random, right? Okay. These are totally random. Let's go. If you could switch places with one of your friends for a day, who would it be?
Lisa Crosby.
Why?
I would love to do what she do for a day.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just running webinars,
I love it. Awesome. You should do that for your current company.
Yeah. When the right time comes, the whole situation now doesn't help.
Totally, exactly right. Okay, here's the next one. Would you rather be proposed to in private or in front of your family and friends?
Private, definitely.
Okay, what's something you did as a child that your parents still retell the story about?
No, my parents have not told any stories about my childhood. Or maybe because I don't meet them so often anymore. I don't remember. That's so sad.
Okay, when was the last time you cried and why?
Oh, yesterday when I watched this movie on Netflix. It was about this girl. I think she was kidnapped. I can't remember the movie title. It was just a random series I was watching. Yeah.
Okay. Which season fits your personality? Summer, winter, spring, or autumn?
Autumn. I'm an autumn girl.
What? Okay. And what was your first job ever? Like this could be while you're a teenager, anything. What was your first job?
I was distributing Nescafe coffees in the supermarket.
Wow. Okay, very good. Elaine, it's been great to have you on the show. Before you go, where can people follow you online?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. Just search for my name. I have a YouTube channel. Again, search for my name. My name is not the easiest to spell, but because it's so unique, if you search for it, it's definitely only one Elaine. I've tried. If I just Google Elaine, I will come up first.
Hey, thanks for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed that and found the experience of Elaine helpful and may assist you in your career journey on your path to becoming an MVP. Remember, full show notes can be found at nz365guy.com/233. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. See you next Thursday.